Alright, hello YouTube. It's a lonely time of year. Then again, every holiday is a lonely time of year for me. No reason to ever try to get married or have some kids or a family. That's just silly foolishness. Complete insanity. Dude. Anyways, this is going to be a video on a variety of topics. One of the topics is Joe Rogan. I saw recently interviewed Secular Talk, and I still can't remember his name. And I shit you not, I literally just got done watching the video, and here's a fucking pop-up. I shit you not, I literally just got done watching the fucking video, and I still can't remember the damn guy's name, real name. But Rogan interviewed Secular Talk, and it was a good interview, and I recommend you go watch that, especially if you want some idea of what, a kind of real liberalism is, as opposed to the kind of pseudo-liberalism that has been hijacked by the corporate American complex that largely dominates our country. But anyways, beyond that, there really isn't much to talk about having to do with Secular Talk. I didn't look at Jimmy Dore's videos because I just want to get this over with. So I'm not going to lie, I went to InfoWars and I got the majority of this source material from there, and there's a lot of disagreements with Alex Jones. Fuck. But there is a lot of disagreements with Alex Jones, as there usually is. And this, damn it. But this is going to be a video on various topics I lifted from Infowars.com. And let's begin, shall we? Drag Queen story time. Drag Queen story time. Yes, once again, Jones is bashing the trannies. Or in this case, a drag queen, because that's not the same thing. But the point is, there was a, incident, a bit of a scandal, where a drag queen sat down and, he, she, whatever, was wearing a skirt, and they didn't really cross their legs good enough, and the children, I'm sure, could see right up there. But from what I'm understanding, they were wearing pantyhose, so you didn't really get to see that much. But regardless, if this was my child, I probably would ask the school, gee, what's this? My daughter keeps telling me about a funny lady's pecker. But nevertheless, it was an accident, and of course accidents happen, and I am joking, or I do joke, but accidents happen, and the kids didn't see much, and again, it happens to everyone, I'm sure. So again, it's just a reason to bash drag queens. There's nothing inherently sexual about gender or gender identity, and I see no problem with the drag queen story time. So let's just leave that there. I support the drag queens and their story time, and we'll leave that there and move on. Here's one where Kanye West talked about the Democratic Party pretty much tricked black people into aborting black babies. Well, first of all, I don't see what this has to do with race. And I'm not going to go into more detail about that. But again, I have to wonder, why does it have to be specifically black people? But nevertheless, second of all, they didn't trick anyone. They gave women a chance to do something legally they were already doing illegally and wanted to do legally. And many of them were already using clothes hangers. White and black women were using clothes hangers, and they were done. So no one tricked anyone into doing anything. But third of all, beyond that, I don't understand why there was such a big shit fest, or big hoo-ha-ha about women having abortions in the first term of a pregnancy, when you can literally take an infant after it's born, strap them to a table and mutilate their penis, or that's pretty much what circumcision is. And it has been, by the way, been known and does kill so many children a year. So I found that to be ridiculous, and that's incredibly hypocritical. But I see no issue with abortion, and to blame that entirely on other people that were largely giving people rights that they didn't have that they wanted is insane. So, but if you really, but if you really wanted to give a fuck about children, in addition to, I will admit, some of the laws that have recently been passed in New York and they try to pass in Virginia, having to do with killing children after they're born, that I do oppose. In addition to that, you should really come out against and oppose circumcision or infant genital mutilation of children, or of male children in this case. And while you're at it, maybe you want to think twice before piercing your daughter's ears, because that's also wrong. But no, you would much rather be against abortion because I guess you didn't make that choice, and obviously you're not aborted, so you don't have to check your ego and actually look at that from a straight up, or at in some terms of a straight up logical way. You can just say, well, that's wrong because someone else did that, and shame women going into abortion clinics. So that's much easier to do. But yeah, that's bullshit. We are reaching closer and closer to what George Carlin called, or basically George Carlin, I don't know if he called it anything, but his version of an apocalypse where literally nature gets back at men. And he talks about, there will be a fire and like it's just going to burn down everything and it's going to start to rain, and it's like rain falls upward, fire falls downward. It's just like nonsense. And all the Uncle Dave sit around a table and they talk about getting fucked over, and eventually everyone gets a planet and there's a million Uncle Daves, and it's kind of like his version of heaven. And then he says, this is why I like it when nature gets even with people. And he said something that, at least at that time, I never had the balls to say, but I always wanted to, and that is my view of a beautiful Armageddon. But of course, and I'm not completely joking, by the way, but of course, we are reaching that point quite fastly, because if I'm not mistaken, and let me read this to see if I get this straight pretty much. California is pretty much in for 72 hours of hell, as InfoWars said, because so on Halloween, this is a real hell night. We're pretty much, what is it, like extreme winds or something, I forget what they called it, is going to spread the fires even faster, turning it into a fucking inferno. And I'm pretty much expecting it to go up the entire United States, and then everyone to go insane and take turns raping statues of Larry Flint and trying on other people, and trying on mentally ill people's underwear. And of course, the bears will chase you down. The bears will chase you down and eat you, even though they're not really hungry, like you did them. But anyways, that's pretty much what it looks like is going to happen, because we're literally becoming George Carlin's version of an Armageddon. So, and I kind of welcome that, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. But this is what happens when you treat nature like shit and you don't respect nature, and you're getting what you got coming. So, I forget what this was. Someone please think of the children. I forget what I was going to talk about, but it has something to do with conservatives, and conservatives were upset about something having to do with children. I can't think of what. Oh yeah, the left wing. Our plan involves your children. Yes, my plan to keep you from mutilating your children's genitals, and my plan to allow children who are transgender not to be bullied by people on the internet and called a faggot. And my plan to help your children does involve your children. Yes, I want to help them. Yes, in that way, it does involve your children. How horrible of me, of course. But once again, is conservatives use your children as a human shield, a metaphorical human shield against any critique or condemnation of them. They once again let out a mighty war cry of, think of the children. while of course they don't give a rat's ass about your children, as they have never given a rat's ass about children. And they prove that time and time again. So there's that. And finally, Kmart. Kmart has a line of same-sex family dolls. That is, I guess, to say a gay couple with children. For children that target children as young as 3, because it's not as if though it's too much to ask that, say, let's say maybe little Susie or little Johnny, maybe they have a gay couple as parents, or they were adopted, or they're a surrogate maybe, or maybe they were married, maybe their mother married another woman, or maybe their father married another man, and they want some normalization of this because they are, of course, humans. Maybe you don't believe that, but they are. And they want to realize that they are normal people. So of course Kmart comes out with a same-sex family couple of dolls, or kind of a Barbie doll setup, where a Barbie doll set where they're supposed to be a same-sex married couple in that setup, in that set. So let's condemn that, because now they're teaching homosexuality. Actually, no, they're not. And again, for all the talk about children, you don't seem to give a fuck about genital mutilation, as I have mentioned for the 13th millionth time. But with that being said, the 14th million time or whatever. But with that being said, I do want to say, don't circumcise your children. And this Halloween, carve pumpkins, not babies. And try to give them a good start to life and let them have a intact Halloween, where they haven't been mutilated. So give your entire baby a Halloween. And the real horror is in genital mutilation, and the real horror stories and brutal murders that you should care about will be in the dead babies that will die from genital mutilation, potentially tomorrow if they haven't died this week or next week, as this does happen and can be very brutal. And that is what you should care about and should worry about. So that is all. P666.